250,000 Chinese people live in Victoria, and their modern history is now being told at the Chinese Museum in Melbourne. It's just been reopened, and its stories go back 150 years to the Gold Rush days. Cheryl Hall went to have a look.
I was 6 years old. We fled on a fishing boat with my mum and my brother. It was pretty cramped. We were in the oceans for about 45 days.
Were you scared?
Yes, we thought we weren't going to make it.
Michael Tran knows he's lucky to be alive and lucky to be living in Australia. He's part of an earlier wave of refugees, those who arrived by boat from war-torn Vietnam in the 1980s. He's now one of 250,000 Chinese people who call Victoria home.
Chinese people have come from all over Southeast Asia, not just from China, but from East Timor, from Singapore, from Taiwan, from Malaysia. But they've all come for different reasons. Some have come as refugees and migrants, but some have come for business migration.
While Mark Wong can trace his Australian-born family back 4 generations to the gold rush, one of his grandparents had another claim to fame. He came to Australia in 1946 during the White Australia policy because he knew Australia's immigration minister, Arthur Calwell.
My mother's father knew Arthur Calwell, and so he found it easier to get into Australia than most Chinese people. Arthur Calwell made up the term, two Wongs don't make a white. Quite contradictory when, our family was actually friends with him.
Melbourne's Chinatown is one of the oldest continuous homes of the Chinese in Australia, though its population fell dramatically between 1900 and 1970, when the White Australia policy stopped Asian immigration.
Around 1975, my father, who was in council, suggested that we develop this as a Chinatown and promote the idea that, it's a Chinese street.
And why was that controversial?
Well, Chinese people particularly wanted to see Little Bourke Street as just a street for Chinese people, and they didn't want to see it as being turned into so-called Disneyland by calling it Chinatown and putting it up arches.
Its treasures include 3 generations of Melbourne dragons. The most recent, made for the millennium in 2000, is so big it requires 45 people inside it.
We've got some really special things in the collection that go back to the Gold Rush. We've got a pigtail that Chinese people used to wear queues in respect to the Manchu rule, and it's things like Lambing Flats, where there were riots and race riots. They were said to have been cut off. A dictionary, English to Chinese or Chinese to English dictionary. And there's all phrases in there like, how do I get to the goldfields, and all kinds of different phrases. It's a very telling book because it actually, from the meaning that you read in the phrases, you get to understand the life at that time. We also have a very extensive collection of garments, really beautiful garments that are embroidered, dating back 150 years or so.
But the museum now incorporates some of the stories of the 80% of Melbourne's Chinese population who have arrived in the last 50 years. People like Wei Qian, a Chinese herbalist who came to Melbourne to study English and ended up staying despite a difficult start.
How was it? It was pretty tough.
Very tough. 20 hours of work and you only get paid a lot of people pay you like $5-6 an hour, and you need to attend school pretty much full time. But I wasn't handled very well because I was crying every night.
But Wei Qian eventually changed her mind and was able to bring her husband and daughter to Australia.
And I decided after about probably 6-8 months being an English student here, I decided actually I love this country, I want to stay.
Mark Wong says attitudes towards the Chinese have changed dramatically.
There was quite a lot of racism in the 1970s. I think because Chinese people now people are very accustomed to Chinese people, they're not picked on so much. But then when a new group of people come, they get picked on, and so we're sort of way down the pecking order now.
So do you think, in hindsight, your mother did the right thing?
Definitely. I mean, I feel at home now Like, you know, I wouldn't call Vietnam home now. So, and I feel very blessed to be, you know, to be living here.